Notorious. Welcome back to another episode of AYS Fight Club. I'm one half of your host, Daniel Dees. Alongside me, as usual, as always, and forever, Matt Bricker. Matt, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Excited for this big weekend coming up.
Man, I got to tell you, there's just something about a Conor fight. It's magic.
Yep.
It feels like it's not a fight card. It's an event, you know? It's like you can't sleep the night before like a 10-year-old and he knows he's going to Disney World for the first day, you know? I just can't shake that feeling, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like the only other fighter I could think of who had this level of hype before each and every fight is Mike Tyson. Other than that, probably Ali. So I think there's only 3 fighters like that in American combat sports. I mean, we all know it was in Mexico, you had your Julio Cesar Chavez. In the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just everybody. So let's go ahead and tell everybody what we're doing tonight. We're just talking Conor and Dustin. That is what's happening tonight. We might bring some people on. If they want to come on, they can come. But tonight it's just UFC 257. This is what we're focusing on. Conor, Dustin, the road that got him there, and the road they will take once the dust is settled. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Hot and pepper and heavy D all up in the limousine. Yes. Devin, you are into it right now. All right. So, Matt, why all of a sudden these past few weeks have you switched from Dustin to Conor? Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room.
Man, and I even said it was going to come up to the week or two before. And it's all in just his presentation. Like I said 100 times, it's not exactly what he says. It's how he says it, how he carries himself. It reminds me a lot of the way he kind of changed before the Donald Cerrone fight. It was a lot of how he was before, around when he first come in with the Marcus Brimage fight and Thiago, the Brando fight, those early fights and then the end of Cage Warriors. And then, the money gets involved, he kind of changes, and, all you get around the Nick Diaz thing and all that, Nate Diaz. And he just kind of lost himself. And it just kind of seems like he may have found himself again, found that person, and like we talked about it last week with the Donald Cerrone fight. I mean, just the way he went in there and handled business. And I kind of see a lot of that same kind of stuff, leading up to this fight. So, I mean, I would love for Dustin to win. Now, my heart and my head are two different things. But, if I'm going with my head, I'm going to go with the Notorious.
Yeah, I told Blake last night when I was breaking down draft coverage, I told him my head is saying Conor, but my heart is saying Dustin. So I'm going with my heart on this one. Yes, everybody said that, like, he had his weigh in, and everybody said he just didn't look good. He came in at 256, but he went ahead and he addressed that on Twitter. He said, I was just fresh out the sauna, from the sauna to the scales. I was feeling overheated. I promise you, I feel great. And on the flip side of it, Conor, he made weight. He made championship weight. He made 155. And in the crowd, you can see his eyes just adjusting every once in a while, just looking at the certain spots. Turns out he had both of his kids there, front row, seeing daddy do what he does, what puts the bread on their table. So I cannot wait for this. I'm just so hyped. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. I'm going to shadow box a little bit. I'm going to watch Fightville, the Dustin Poirier documentary. I'm going to watch the Conor McGregor Notorious documentary. I'm going to hop on Fight Pass, watch some old Poirier fights, watch some old Conor fights. I just can't shake this. I'm addicted. I'm a junkie for this. Jacob Cole, I can't tell if I like nice guy Conor more or less. Jacob, I am the same way. I don't know which one. I love my cocky Conor McGregor. I do. I love the shit talking. I love the Mystic Mac. I love him getting in his opponent's head. And then we're going to, at the end of the way, and it's an intense stare down. They're both into it. They're and all of a sudden they're cool. Dustin gives him a bottle of the hot sauce. And so, Matt, which Conor do you like better? You like cocky Conor or you like humble family man Conor?
Man, I like this one because They always say the most dangerous man in the room is the quiet man in the corner, and it just seems like he's a lot more focused, a lot more precise, a lot more drilled in. It seems like, especially now with his kids and stuff, it almost seems like that may have changed him, because it's all kind of been around that time, when Conor Jr. first came. So I don't know, maybe that's kind of changed him. But yeah, I mean, man, the most quiet man in the room is always the most dangerous.
Devin, you asked, the Diamond Doc is on ESPN Plus. It is not, my man. I think it might be on Amazon Prime if you're a Prime member. If not, you can rent it. It's very cheap. It'll probably be like $5. It is worth it. I'm not saying this because I'm a huge Dustin Poirier fan. I'm not saying this because I'm a huge MMA fan. I'm saying this as a person who likes documentaries, who likes watching movies. That is just a legitimately good documentary. And by tomorrow, if you watch that and you're not impressed by anything, if you don't come out of this loving Dustin more, then your heart's made of turds, man. I'm sorry, but you're going to love it. I promise. Go rent it. If it's not available for free on Prime, it is absolutely worth it. And the Conor McGregor Notorious documentary, I'm pretty sure is on Netflix, if you have that.
Yeah, it is.
Jacob Cole, I just want some hot sauce. Look. It's on heatness.com. I actually looked into this. Heatness. Okay. I'm trying to order some because if Dustin wins, I'm coming on here next Friday and I'm bottoms up. I'm chugging it. I'm chugging hot sauce. The boss, Blake Ruffino, saying, focus Conor is a scary Conor. You are right about that. That's what we get. When we get focused Conor, we get that performance versus Donald Cerrone where he just breaks his nose with a shoulder. Wasn't even an accidental shoulder. Like, he knew what he was doing with his shoulder. They're in the clinch. Donald's head's right here. He's just like he had the leverage on it, and then he just head kicks him and just puts him away with punches. Yes, focus Conor is absolutely frightening. Let's see what else we got. Danny Krantz. Yes, I heard an interview. Dana White this week, and Conor is very focused. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Every interview, like, we're not seeing him posting the videos of him training. No, like, this has been private workout sessions for him. This is him zoned in, locked in. And this is one of the scariest dudes on the planet when he's focused. But I'm still got to go with Diamond. Diamond, he is Louisiana. He's our native son. I ride or die with him. And I like this one. Blake Ruffino, what is your favorite Conor quote of all time? I can't tell you my favorite because this is a PG-13 show. We'll keep the rated R stuff in the group chat. Favorite Conor quote. Matt, you want to take this one while I think about it?
Break out the red panties.
Red panty night. That's an all-time classic. The best Conor quote of all time. Jeremy Steve, like, someone asked him, they said, Conor, who do you fear in the featherweight division? Blah, blah, who do you think will be next? And Jeremy Stevens chimes in. He said, this guy right here, most dangerous 155 pound. When I hit people, they go to sleep. Conor just looks around and see who says that. Goes, who the is that guy? And the whole crowd just burst out laughing. When you get Yoel Romero just cracking up laughing, man, he destroyed that whole man's career, summed up his whole career with that one quote, that one question, who the is that guy? Like, when people say Jeremy Stevens now, that is the first thing people usually think about. Yes, who the beef is that guy? Love it. Absolutely love it. But my favorite quote from Conor McGregor was actually during the Jose Aldo face-off. You're going to have to YouTube that. He wanted Jose to get close for a specific reason. I'm not saying it on here. He said he wanted
I want to smell. Yeah.
That was one of the greatest face-off moments of all time.
Yeah.
So I want to smell. Yeah, we're not going to get into that here. I don't want to get Blake in trouble for that. Oh, Conor. Like, we've joked almost every episode. We almost joke we can't go an episode without mentioning Conor. That's how big he is. He's bigger than life. He's one of the few athletes you can accurately say is bigger than the sport. Ronda Rousey was almost at that pinnacle where she was bigger than the sport, but then got head kicked, and that was it for her. But Conor, he took this sport by storm. And that was probably one of the most iconic quotes from him was, "We're not here to take part. We're here to take over." And that's exactly what he did. He took over a sport so tremendously that he ended up talking his way into going toe-to-toe with Floyd Mayweather. I mean,
but Joe Rogan made a comment. He's like, how much of an enigma and how special is this guy that he can make his pro boxing debut and become the second largest pay-per-view ever for the sport of boxing in your pro debut against arguably the greatest boxer of all time. Who else could go in there on their pro debut and become the second highest rated pay-per-view of all time in the sport of boxing?
5 million pay-per-view buys that card did. 4 million in the US, 1 million in the UK, 5 million worldwide. That not only shattered his pay-per-views in the UFC, but it shattered Floyd's pay-per-views in the boxing world. Like when two stars align like that, magic happened. And Conor, we had no business believing in that Conor could do it. And he did. He went in there. He won some rounds. Everybody said that he wasn't going to get any rounds. And he won probably. On my card, I had him winning 4 rounds, and then Floyd just ran away with it because Floyd, he kind of felt him out for the first 2 rounds. I think Conor snuck in probably 2 more after that. I got to go back and look at that scorecard. But at the end of that fight, this will be another conversation for another time. But if you go at the end of the fight and you look up the actual judges' scorecards, every single judge did not give Conor a single round. Even the first round, Floyd Mayweather didn't even throw a punch, and they gave Floyd that round. It's like the fix was already in. So I felt like Conor knew that fix was in, so he had to go balls to the walls and try to take him out because he wasn't going to outpoint Floyd Mayweather. Nobody can outpoint Floyd Mayweather. So that was probably one of the biggest accomplishments of his career, was actually going that far against Floyd Mayweather in a pro boxing debut nonetheless.
Yeah, but I think Conor won exactly what he was trying to do. He got a lot of money. He got his name out there even more than it already is. Got the McGregor promotion thing going. So I think he won. I think he knew already going into what was going to happen as far as the sporting end of it. It was the business end of it that I think he was more into.
Yeah. Like, he came. Yes, that was also a very good one. He said, "Why do you got a book bag? You can't even read." That was hilarious. And then there was one point where Floyd Mayweather opened up the book bag, started throwing money in the air. Conor picks it up and goes, $1? What? $1 bills? Called him out on that. That was also one of the only times in Floyd Mayweather's career where somebody was getting better of him in the media. And like you could tell he was getting flustered during those press conferences. Like he had to stop focusing on Conor. He had to keep checking his phone. He had to zone out away from Conor because Conor was absolutely in his head. But hold on. Okay. We got to stop talking about Conor for just a little bit. Let's go on to Dustin Poirier. I'm for Dustin Poirier. Here I am going on for Conor like a little girl with a crush. So let's talk about Dustin. All right. Dustin is heavily slept on in this fight, in my opinion. Everybody's most recent viewing of Dustin was against Dan Hooker and Khabib Nurmagomedov. But before that, if you look at his performance against Max Holloway, beat him stupid. Yeah. Eddie Alvarez beat him stupid. Justin Gaethje went to war, finished him, TKO'd him.
Yeah, finish.
And then Anthony Pettis, before that, got him with a body triangle, made Anthony Pettis tap from a body triangle, put a lot of pressure on those ribs. And before that, yeah, he did get knocked out by Michael Johnson. But that being said, that's Michael Johnson for you. The dude's got some of the most lethal hands in all the UFC. So that was just a bad night for him. But before that, Bobby Green knocks him out. Joe Duffy, Yancy Medeiros. So, and before that, it was Carlos Diego Fierro, his lightweight debut. So he was on an absolute tear in the lightweight division. And then he ran into Khabib. It was eventually supposed to happen that he was going to run into Khabib. And then he gets some good shots against Khabib. And then he gets in that guillotine. We thought he had it, but that was just he got what happens to everybody against Khabib. He got thrown to the ground, got smashed, and he got choked. He got strangled. And then for his rebound fight, it was no easy fight. His rebound fight was against Dan Hooker, one of the best lightweights in the world right now, who's going to be co-main event. Michael Chandler. We'll probably talk about that later if we have time. So do you think that the recency bias is against Poirier for this because of his performance against Khabib and the shots he took against Hooker?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, Conor's 2 fights ago, he fought Khabib also. So I don't know. I just think just the whole, like we were talking about, just the whole enigma, just the whole aura of Conor McGregor is just a different level. So he gets a lot of those passes on a lot of those kind of things.
I agree.
Poirier, I mean, man, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are going to remember Khabib over Dan Hooker, as far as, they're going to think, hey, you had the title, you lost it to Khabib. They're going to forget all about the Hooker. I mean, it was a great fight, but, to most people, to a casual fan, they're going to remember Khabib last as far as when it comes to Poirier. That's, that's what's going to be last in their memory bank, or what a lot of people do, MMA math, which I hate MMA math, but they'll say, oh, well, look, Conor did better against Khabib than Poirier did, so that means he'll win, But, yeah, I think he's going to be judged a lot harder than what Conor is. Conor's going to get a lot more passes than anybody else.
Yeah. And another talking point that's being thrown out there a lot is why they're saying Dustin Poirier is a better fighter than he was in 2014, 6 years ago. He's a much better fighter 6 years ago. Conor's not. Right. I mean, it's hard. It's so hard to say that these two guys are the same fighter 6 years ago. You can't say that about any fighter. If you tell me a fighter's the same way they are 6 years ago, I'm going to show you a fighter who's not top 20 in the world in his division, let alone his own promotion.
Yeah, every fighter should get better over 6 years. I mean, regardless of if you're new in the sport, if you've been around for 20 years, every fighter should get better over 6 years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's a different weight class. They both looked much better. So you can't use that as the weight class thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like Conor. I really want to pick Dustin. I want to. So like,
well, I am.
I'm trying to settle myself on it, and I just can't do it.
When my heart and my brain are picking two different fighters, I go to the third man. I go to the odd man out. I go with my gut, and my gut is just telling me Dustin. Like, I want to keep changing my pick. I want to pick Conor. I feel like that's the safer pick. But just saying it, my gut's just like, dude, I promise you're going the wrong way here. You got to listen to your heart on this one. I just feel like it's Dustin. I feel like his hand speed is a very dangerous weapon against Conor. Conor has really not fought somebody with his hand speed before. You could say, well, he did it again 6 years ago. But then again, that is 6 years ago. Your chin depletes. The other guy gets better. You get worse. The same thing we say about Dustin. In some areas, he improved a lot. Some areas, he got worse. Like, we haven't seen his jiu-jitsu on display since that body triangle against Anthony Pettis, because we think Anthony Pettis may have broke his rib. And let's see, his last pure submission win was a Darce choke in 2012 against Jonathan Brookins. Blake, that's just bad gas in your gut. Probably. I think I changed that diet. Maybe the gut's corrupted, but we'll see after tomorrow. As a matter of fact, if Conor wins tomorrow, I'll go on a diet so my gut can be more accurate on these picks.
We've talked about it too, wear and tear. I mean, Dustin's has a lot more wear and tear on his body since their last matchup. So, I mean, all the wars he's gotten into since then, a lot of that can have play a factor too coming into this.
Right. Stephen Ebarb on Facebook says you can't compare the two fights against Khabib. I can't agree with you enough on that. You can never, ever judge two fighters based on their common opponent, especially a recent opponent. We can't judge them based off of, well, look what Conor did against Max Holloway versus what Dustin did against Max Holloway, because Khabib was not the same fighter against Conor as he was against Dustin. I mean, if you say they were, then go find a different sport for you, because that ain't it. Because Khabib was fighting a different fight against Conor. This was more personal. He was fighting with more emotion than he was against Dustin. Dustin, he was more meticulous. He was more committed to the game plan. Blake asked, so whoever wins fights for the belt or no? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was going to drop this later on in the show. My sources are telling me, I have a very good source, my source knows a very reliable source, the most perfect source. You can't get more perfect than this source. So it's pretty much a secondhand source, but I trust this. He says Khabib is done. He said Khabib's heart is now with coaching. All right. So with that being said, my prediction, if Dustin wins, which I think he will, I think it's going to be him versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight strap. If Conor wins, think about what happened last week. Max Holloway, I'm the best boxer in the UFC. The story writes itself. They're gonna put that together. It's gonna be Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor for the lightweight strap. I firmly believe that because I feel like Max was planting a seed when he was shouting out at the commentary booth while he's looking this way, going, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC. I'm the best boxer." I feel like that was a shot at Conor. That's a good call. I agree. I got a lot of good calls. Hey, Steven, you got a good call right here. You say Dustin's going to win third or fourth round. I'm actually picking Dustin in the third. And Steven also says if Conor loses, he's getting Nate Diaz again. Maybe. Perhaps. I don't know where Conor goes. The thing about Conor is that after a fight, we don't know because this dude is absolutely the king of announcing he's retiring. Like, we're never going to take him seriously when he actually announces that he's hanging him up. He could take the gloves off tomorrow night in the middle of the octagon and lay him down saying, I'm done. I'm focusing on my whiskey. I'm focusing on my family. A part of me will believe it, but at the end of the day, I'm like, Conor loves the game too much to just retire. Could it be Nate Diaz if he loses? I don't know. If Conor loses, I still think it's going to be Max. Because I know for a fact, though, no matter win or lose, Max Holloway will be fighting Conor McGregor at 155. If they were to fight again, it's 100% happening at 155. Conor has gone on record saying, I'm never going back down to feather. That's not going to happen. Steven also said, if Chandler wins and Dustin wins, it makes sense. I mean, it could. I mean, Chandler has that Bellator rub, but could you really?
I don't know if Chandler's going to win.
Yeah, we're putting the cart before the horse on that one.
I'm not sure if Chandler's going to get past Hooker.
Stylistically, this is the absolute worst matchup for Mike Chandler. Stylistically. But then again, we've seen so many times where we say, well, this guy is such a horrible stylistic matchup for so-and-so, and he gets the dog crap beat him. Perfect example was Chad Mendez versus Conor McGregor. Everybody thought that Chad Mendez was stylistically a bad matchup for Conor because Conor's never really faced a wrestler of Chad Mendez's pedigree. And what happened? He held Chad in his guard. Chad Mendez couldn't pass Conor's guard. He got gassed. Conor dug foots in Chad Mendez's gut and got the knockout. So just because we say stylistically it doesn't favor him doesn't mean that it's an automatic loss. Because once that cage door closes, styles really go out the door. It's just who wants it more that night and who came better prepared.
Now, Chandler and Poirier would be an amazing fight, though. That would be an absolute war. I mean, I would love to see that.
I think it'd be hard to jump him over Charles Oliveira at this point because Charles has been on such a tear at lightweight.
Man,
Diaz is a money fight, man.
How many times have
Diaz really won it?
How many times have we seen a guy skipped over who we thought deserved it? You know, it wouldn't be the first time
I had a nickel for that.
Like that. You know, so it wouldn't surprise me because, you know, Hooker being ranked so high, Chandler coming in, it wouldn't surprise me if something like that. One of those guys ended up, just because of the recent bias coming in, getting a win on this event, to throw their name in there and say, hey, look, I deserve the title. I was in the co-main event. I deserve the title shot. Like I said, it wouldn't be the first time. Gilbert Burns sat on the sideline for a long time. And he's just one example. I mean, there's tons of guys who, should have got the shot.
Leon Edwards, for example. Leon Edwards was supposed to be getting a shot, but never came to fruition.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time we saw that if they skip out on, on Oliveira.
Yeah. And Steven also says Diaz is a money fight, man. That is true, but does Diaz really want that fight? He says he wants so many fights, but when the contract's in front of him, Nate Diaz is notorious for not putting his name by the X. I mean, it wasn't until they actually offered him Conor the first time. He didn't want that Conor rematch. That's well documented. He wanted a title shot, but the money was there for Diaz to take Conor. But would he do that third fight? I don't know. I would love to see Nate versus Dustin. I think that'd be a hell of a matchup.
It was supposed to happen before.
So what I'm trying to say is it's better for the sport if Dustin wins. That's just my bias, though. So, Blake, is Conor the only guy that can bring Khabib back? Conor seems to really get his revenge. No, I don't think Conor is the guy to bring Khabib back, because somebody brought up a good point. What's in it for Khabib? We already know what's in it for Conor, redemption, but Khabib, what's money? That's about it. He getting absolutely nothing outside of money. So I don't think Conor is the guy to get Khabib back. I think only one name is for that, and that's for GSP. But GSP said it has to be for a title. And he doesn't want to make 155, GSP said. So do the math on that. It'd have to be for like an interim welterweight title strap. I mean, Dana White's been throwing out interim title shots left and right a few years ago that didn't even make sense. He threw out an interim title shot with Khabib on the sideline for less than 8 months. It was who did Dustin fight for the interim? Oh, it was against Max. That's where Dustin got the interim title. So, yeah, I don't think Conor is going to bring Khabib back. I really don't.
At this point, Khabib's fighting for legacy. It's not for a title or for money. He's just fighting for legacy at this point. He's got all the other things.
I mean, if they could convince GSP to make it a non-title fight, maybe. But GSP wants.
He's fighting for the same thing too. Yeah, I mean,
it'd be a feather in each guy's hat. I mean, if GSP comes in at his age and beats Khabib, that solidifies him as the absolute GOAT. There is no way in hell anyone can ever convince me that GSP is not the GOAT if he beats Khabib. I mean, I already think GSP is the GOAT regardless, but if he beats Khabib, there's nothing nobody could ever do in the history of the sport that will ever top that. But if Khabib beats him, that would just move Khabib up the GOAT rankings. I mean, I still wouldn't think that he's better than GSP all time, because GSP all time faced a very, very, very dangerous welterweight division. All right. Steven says, Khabib and Conor are both matured fighters since the first fight. Khabib will fight again, but not because of Conor. What do you think, Matt? Do you think that Conor would be the guy that pulls Khabib out of retirement?
No, I don't think it'd be Conor, because, I mean, like I said, there's nothing to fight for in that. He's already crossed that bridge. Like I said, he's fighting for legacy at this point. It's going to be something.
He's not a money guy. Like, he's never had a money issue.
Or maybe, I don't know how, I don't know how bad he'd want to, but maybe if he offered him a title shot with Usman, at 170, go for that. And then maybe that's what brings GSP out. Because, if Khabib's the 170 champion, and then that might, GSP coming back to take over his division,
Steven, you brought up a good point. Khabib loves the sport. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why a lot of these guys come back out of these. That's why this is the worst sport to declare retirement. If all of these guys come back, and it's because of that, because of their love for the sport. It's a different dedication than hitting a baseball or throwing a football. You put a lot more of yourself into the sport, so it's harder to pull yourself out of it.
Right. That's like the closest sport I could actually compare MMA too, in terms of really putting your heart and soul into it. I get snickered at a lot is bull riding, because these bull riders are cut from pretty much the same cloth as MMA fighters, that they will do this until they're basically told by everybody, look, if you keep doing this, you're going to die. And they won't tell that to a football player. No one's going to tell that to a baseball player. If you keep doing this, you're going to die on the spot. I mean, maybe with football with concussions, but that's different. But Steven, yes, Khabib's passion is fighting. I agree with you, but core my source, his passion is still fighting, but in a different sense. His passion right now is coaching and his new Eagle promotion. Those are his two passions right now. I don't think he has anything left to fight for in that octagon. Like Khabib is a legacy guy. Conor is a money guy. I mean, he's money, he's fame. Conor is not much of the legacy guy. There's a huge difference between legacy and fame. Khabib is that legacy. And there's just no sense in him getting in there with Conor again. But, Matt, you did bring up a good point. What if they offered him Usman? Could that bring him out? I mean, I would love to see it as a fan, just see that's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object in the purest sense of the phrase. Yeah. Steven also says, no way I'm convinced that he doesn't come back. I mean, if he does, I'll be happy. I love watching.
I'd love to see him come back. That's a different question.
I love watching him launch guys like a rocket.
To see him. Yeah. Would love to see
no
him
matter who he's coming back against, it is what it is. And Blake says, Conor knows the buttons to push. The sport needs a rematch. I agree. The sport does need that rematch. That's a 2 million pay-per-view buy event right there. If they put it in Russia, that's going to shatter. That's probably going to get almost to 3 million if you put that on in Russia, because you get the Russian.
But one of the big problems now, though, with the UFC is all this money is guaranteed from ESPN. It doesn't really matter how many pay-per-views they sell, and we've kind of seen that as fans over the last couple of years. It doesn't really matter. Some of these guys may have pay-per-view point, something like that built in, but it doesn't matter to the UFC because they're not paying it, so they don't care how many pay-per-views it is. They're already paid. It's just like a lot of these regional shows, especially in Louisiana, because I can speak on that because I deal with a lot of these. If you want to get a show inside a casino, because the casino will pay you for the show. You got that money. Otherwise, you're renting out a facility. You're renting, security, and you're getting medical, and you got to make sure you have your insurance, and you got to make sure you busted at the gate to make money to cover all this. It costs about $30,000 to put on a regional MMA show, and that's just regional. And you got to make your money back. If you get a casino show, you are locked in. You don't, it's smooth sailing. Same thing with ESPN. It's smooth UFC. It's smooth sailing right now because they got ESPN. ESPN is their casino. It doesn't matter how many fans show up. They're getting the same if there's one fan in the seat or if it's 80,000. And we kind of feel. I think we feel that a little bit in the scheduling.
Yeah. Steven says, go watch Dana White's Looking for a Fight. That was posted today. I have not seen it yet. I haven't
seen that, but I like watching those.
Oh, yeah. I love Looking for a Fight. I love it. I can't get enough of Matt Serra. Like Matt Serra, when Dana White hangs it up, call me crazy. I think Matt Serra should be the next promoter. The dude can sell. All right. Steven said, Dana mentioned how high 257 numbers are trending. Well, I didn't see it. So enlighten us. Put it in the comments. What they?
I'm sure they.
I'm sure they're trending. I'm gonna make a prediction. Sure. I'm gonna predict the pay-per-view does. I don't think it's gonna hit the 2. I don't think it's hitting 2. So let's look at Conor's pay-per-view buys. His highest was 2.4. That was against Khabib. I don't think Dustin's bringing that Khabib draw. There's not enough bad blood. It's not enough story to that. I'm going to say 1.8 million. Matt, what you got?
I'm going to go about 1.5. So, same ballpark. I'm going to go about 1.5.
Yeah, I just don't see it hitting that too. I mean, you've got to do something absolutely special to get 2 million eyeballs on a product. He told Khabib, could you imagine how much more if you and Conor were to go again? I don't think that affects Khabib. I really don't. Like, every interview I've ever seen with Khabib, every interview I've read with Khabib, every match I've ever watched with Khabib, there's nothing about him that screams, show me the money.
I think that's a culture thing because Fedor never
Yeah.
appeared to be that way either, you know, and I think it's a cultural thing. Dana can push it on him because that's kind of an American thing. Look at the money, look at the numbers. They don't care about all that crap over there. I mean, it's totally different. It's legacy. It's, you know, what your family name is going to look like 100 years down the road. You know, that's he always cared about what his father thought. He didn't care what anybody. If father said he wasn't fighting, he wasn't going to fight. You know, it's a different culture thing, and I think that's a big thing that plays in why there's such a big difference between what Dana's saying and what Khabib's saying is the culture line.
And he said, Blake said, y'all need to go watch it. That's why people are bringing it up. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I always watch it. But like Matt said, it is a culture thing over there in the Dagestan. I mean, it's that Muslim culture. Like, they don't really care about the money. It's more of a pride legacy thing. If Papa Nurmagomedov says you're not going to fight, you're not going to fight. Well, now Papa Nurmagomedov's out of the picture. Mama don't want him to fight, and he's going to listen to Mama on that. I mean, unless Mama changes her mind, Dana can open up the pocketbook to her as well, and she cares about the money, I guess. But I'll have to see it. I'll have to look at the body language. But again, I just think he's committed to coaching. I think he's committed to Eagle fighting. I think that's where his heart is right now. I feel like the Eagle fighting is a monument to his father. I think the coaching is a monument tribute to his father because that was his father's dream. So he's living out his father's dream now post-fight. Because we all know that his dad was a passionate coach. And I think this is what Khabib wants to do now. All right, let's move on to Dustin Poirier again. We always go back to Conor and Khabib. Yep. This might as well be the Conor Khabib show. That's like the two topics we talk about more than anything. But then again, one's larger than the sport, and the other one is pretty much the biggest powerhouse in the sport currently.
I mean, one of the things we always say is, we say pretty much every episode, I get it in there, that we're witnessing the infancy of a sport in MMA. You know, if you say baseball, a lot of people think Babe Ruth. If you say football, a lot of people will say Jim Brown. If you say MMA in 100 years, a lot of people are going to say Conor McGregor. He's going to be the Babe Ruth of MMA. So we're living in that right now. So it's a whole different experience for us.
Yeah, like if you could compare Conor to any boxer of all time, I tell people it's Max Baer. I mean, if you look at Max Baer, he was the first person who brought style, fashion to it. And like we're still babies in this sport. It's just, it blows my mind how people don't underestimate just how young this sport is. We have yet to see that transitional talent. We mentioned on the show with Sarah, like we have yet to see these fighters grow up in an MMA gym. We've seen fighters grow up in boxing gyms, taekwondo gyms, jiu-jitsu gyms, wrestling gyms, sambo gyms, you name the martial art. We've seen guys grow up in those gyms. We have yet to see a child grow up in an actual mixed martial arts gym. Yeah. Blake says, give me Dan Hooker versus Mike Chandler. Well, I agree. I mean, I don't see an avenue how Mike can win, but I'm not saying that's impossible for him to win. I mean, Dan Hooker, he's a tough outing. He's a tough cat. And as I said when this fight first got announced, that this is going to be hella difficult for Mike Chandler. And I feel like this is punishment for Mike Chandler for signing the UFC contract, saying, I'll take on anybody, anywhere, blah, blah, blah. And then when they came up to him, well, I'm not fighting in December. Well, I'm not fighting on 2 weeks' notice. I'm not fighting him just yet. So I feel like this is Dana's like, you talked all of this in the media, making me look bad. Stylistically, I'm going to give you the worst fight I can think of. You're a short, stocky guy. I'm going to give you long, lanky Dan Hooker. So I think I'm going to go with Dan Hooker on this one. You said Dan Hooker too, right?
Yeah, I'm going with Hooker. Yeah, it's just, man, I haven't seen anything to back this up. I just have a feeling that Chandler's underestimating him. I don't know why. I haven't seen it anywhere. I don't know. It's just something is telling me that he's going to come in there underestimating Dan Hooker. I don't know why
I'm a huge Mike Chandler.
I just have that feeling. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to go in there. He's not going to give Hooker enough credit, and he's going to get caught.
Yeah, I'm a gigantic fan of Mike Chandler. I've seen all his. I haven't missed a single Bellator fight since he. Let's see. Ever since like his first fight against Patricky, that's when I became a fan, and I have not missed a damn Mike Chandler fight since.
Oh, and I love the signing. I mean, yeah, and I love seeing him in the UFC. There's a ton of matchups he can go, even if he loses this. There's so many great matchups. You know, that's so. I mean, I don't know. I just think he's going to get caught. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who else he could fight in it. It wouldn't look like a bad matchup. I mean, this division is so we're talking about is just a killer division right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great wrestler, amazing wrestler who doesn't really rely on wrestling. Like he's a wrestler who relies on his MMA training. He's a breath of fresh air when it comes to that kind of style. Seeing these guys in the NCAA come up over here. Let's see. Everybody's in the comments are saying Hooker as well. So that's a pretty damn good fight. But Mike Chandler, he's the favorite. I mean, betting favorite. And speaking of betting favorites, as I told y'all in the group chat today, the lines actually move towards Dustin.
Yeah.
Usually when lines move after weigh-ins, it's like, what do they know? Even after Dustin gets on the scale looking like ass because he just got fresh out of the sauna, why is that money going towards Dustin? I mean, and the money line moved pretty damn good for Mike Chandler as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just going to see tomorrow. I really don't even know what other fights are on the card because I'm just so focused on main event, co-main event. Let's see. What else we got on that card?
Amanda Ribas is fighting.
She's always great to watch.
Yeah. What is that third fight?
Tapology's being booty right now for me. By the way, people watching, if you ever want to look up a fight card, go on a Tapology. If you ever want to look up a fighter, Tapology is the way to go. Take that Wikipedia and shove it up your butt. It's a horrible medium. Go to Tapology. That is an encyclopedia for fight nerds everywhere. So I'm plugging you Tapology. If anybody from Tapology is watching, you've got free advertisement on that.
You can go to MMAsucker.com or mymmanews.com. Those are also two
good one as well. They got a good writing crew over there. Steven said, I thought Dustin looked bigger than Conor. That's because Dustin is bigger than Conor.
He is, yeah.
Dustin could very well go up to welterweight if he wanted to. He's a pure welterweight. Dude walks around like in the low 180s. I think he walks high 170s, he said. So that would not be a hard cut for him. And with his speed at welterweight, he'd be a damn problem for everybody not named Kamaru Usman. I think that's
if he can keep the speed going up 15 pounds, that's always something to consider. But yeah, if he can keep that speed going up, I mean, dangerous at that weight class.
That being said, Dustin wins. I'd love to see him fight Masvidal. I think that would be a banger. I think that'd be an absolute treat for me.
One fight that was on there that I wanted to see, Otman Azatar, is no longer on the card. He was supposed to be fighting.
That butthead.
Dude's been a killer. I think he's in the UFC 2-0 with 2 first-round knockouts. Just beats everybody that he comes in contact with. Not only is he off the card, he is out of the UFC.
He busted him, right?
Cut off his wristbands and they gave it to other people and they had it on security camera or something like that.
Jesus, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Not even just off the card, just cut totally out of the organization.
I think he'll be back though. I think give him 6 months. The UFC will bring him back. I think that's just Dana being Dana. Like Ottman, he kind of jeopardized the show with that. Like if one person in that, like his room was right across Dan Hooker's room. If Dan Hooker ends up getting COVID because of that, there's your co-main event. There's your Ottman card. And then Ottman's out. And we don't have a fight short notice for Mike Chandler that close. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, their big thing has always been, COVID, big thing has always been, the safety and all that, something like this. He's got to make an example out of him, so.
Absolutely.
He had no other choice but to do that in the situation.
I can't think of a dumber reason someone got cut besides probably Paul Daly. Paul Daly is like the most recent one that comes to mind too. When he cheap shot Koscheck after the bell.
Yeah.
I agree with Steven right here. I just said the same thing. Dana's mad, but he'll bring him. You can't deny a talent like Ottman. With somebody who's getting first round knockouts like that so violently, the dude's going to end up drawing a lot of money for you. He'll bring him back. I think this is just.
He'll take one fight in like UAE Warriors or something like that in the Middle East, take one fight, knock off a scrub, and be right back.
He'll be back by, let's say, the fall, I bet.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. He's coming.
I think by the end of the year, he'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We also got Jessica I versus Joanne Calderwood. Yeah. This is some bad blood. I didn't know people did not like Jessica I thought people loved Jessica I, but Joanne's pulled the curtain back on this one, showing us, like, look, nobody likes Jessica I. Like, every girl I talk to, they just do not like her. I'm like, whoa. And that kind of struck a chord with Jessica I, so I guess there's some truth to this. So I love a good bad blood girl fight.
Hey, Calderwood needs this one bad, especially coming off of that loss. Yeah. Because she had the title fight. And instead of sitting out, she took that fight and ended up losing by the submission. So she wants to stay. I think they're ranked like 7 and 8 or 8 and 9 or something. They're very close. So
yeah, I love Joanne Calderwood on this one. I love her, and I've been a huge fan of Joanne since the Ultimate Fighter. I thought she was going to win that entire season. She was hell on wheels, but it is what it is. And then you got Amanda Ribas, always fun to watch. Love Amanda. If you're new to the women's MMA scene, go check out Amanda Ribas. In middleweight, we got Makhmed Muradov versus Andrew Sanchez. Okay, that's the curtain puller for the pay-per-view.
That's replacing the Ottman fight. Yeah.
Ottman was supposed to be pulling the curtain. I don't think you can name a better curtain puller for that card than Ottman.
Yeah.
That sucks. All right, prelims. We got Arman Saryakan versus Matt Frevola. I like Frevola in this one.
Matt Frevola was supposed to fight Ottman, but Arman's opponent missed weight or got sick or something, so they were able to match these two up to at least save two of the fighters. So at least they were able to save Frevola to keep him on the card.
Yeah, I like Frevola. I liked him at WSOF. I saw him once in WSOF. I was like, this guy's got some stink to him. Then he went on to Dana White's Contender Series. He showed out. That's a good fight for him. We got Shoeface versus Brad Tavares. That should be the curtain puller, if you ask me. I love a good Antonio Carlos Jr. fight. Dude's an excellent A+ grappler. And then we got Juliana Pena making her return versus Sarah McMahon. I didn't even know they were fighting. That's a slept-on fight right there. That's going to be two grappling exchanges going on. McMahon's an excellent wrestler.
They'll grind that one to the end, yeah.
Ooh, we got Khalil Roundtree fighting as well. Love Khalil Roundtree. Tiger Muay Thai in the house versus Marcin Perchino. I'm taking Khalil Roundtree on this. The dude, ever since he moved to Tiger Muay Thai, the dude's been an absolute hammer. The dude was always a powerhouse. He was a powerhouse on Ultimate Fighter. He won by soccer kicks. I mean, that was the only time we ever seen soccer kicks win in the UFC because he was soccer kicking them in the gut. And so now they're putting technique behind him. So,
yeah, they're setting him up for a knockout of the night because Perchino has lost his last 3 in a row, all by first round knockout. So, yeah, it's kind of a setup for a knockout of the night here.
Yeah, good for us. We get to watch it, but I think that's messed up that they made that matchup. All right, so. Matt, did you hear last night when Daniel's going to drink a full bottle of hot sauce if Dustin wins? It's going to happen. If it comes in the mail in time, I hope it comes in the mail. If not, I'll definitely do it the week after next. I mean, I love hot sauce, so I mean, I've had the hottest of the hot, and they say it's not that hot; it's just more flavor than heat. I can chug it. What's a kidney stone? What's a stomach ulcer? All that vinegar. That's my wife's problem. She has to take care of me. So let's go ahead and play What If. What if Conor wins? What's his next step? I say Max Holloway. What do you say?
It's definitely going to be for the title. I don't think it's going to be Max. I don't know. I would like to see that, especially with Max coming off with a win, but I don't know how much resentment Max has towards Volkanovski if he really wants that back. I guess it's really going to depend on Max on how bad, if he, really wants that one. Man, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with what happens in the co-main event. I mean, really, because with Chandler and Hooker, whoever wins is, Hooker's what, 5, and Chandler, coming in, say, hey, look, I come in, I knock off the number 5 guy, I want my shot. I mean, so I think a lot of it's going to unfortunately, I feel like Oliveira is going to be left out. I just have this feeling we've seen it too many times before.
Happens a lot.
Where they get left out. And we've talked about this before. This is not just a sport anymore. This is almost like sports entertainment. Oliveira is not going to bring any paper.
He's not a draw. The dude couldn't draw flies if you covered him in crap.
And
it is what it is. I love Oliveira.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, unfortunately nowadays, he's got the most submissions in UFC history. Mm-hmm. So, but it's a lot of entertainment now, and thanks to Conor for a lot of that being so. He kind of revolutionized the way it is. But I just have this feeling Oliveira is going to be looked over, and I just think Hooker or Chandler is going to be able to talk louder than Oliveira is going to be able to talk. And I just have a feeling that whoever can win that, especially if it's a dominant win. If it's a dominant win in that co-main event, then I think that's who Conor's going to fight. If it ends up being a close fight or a decision, then there's, some other things that could happen where I see Max, kind of maybe falling in there, something like that happening. Conor's not afraid to take time off. Maybe Max fights whoever wins the co-main event, and whoever wins that, like I said, Conor's not opposed to taking time off. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just see.
Okay, I think now that you say that, I have a theory. Well, not theory. I have speculation. I have a crystal ball right here. I'm looking into the future. If Michael Chandler beats Dan Hooker, no matter what, I think he jumps Oliveira. But if Dan Hooker beats Mike Chandler, I don't think he's jumping Oliveira. Just because he's coming off that Dustin loss. He'd only have a 1-fight win streak. If you could call one fight just a win streak, I feel like you got to have at least 3 to be considered a win streak. So I say Chandler jumps Oliveira, but I don't think Hooker jumps Oliveira. But what if Conor wins? He doesn't fight Hooker. He doesn't fight Chandler. Nate Diaz is out. Who could he fight for the title at lightweight? Maybe Justin. Do you think they'll give that to Justin instead?
I don't know, because a lot of it, like I said, is what have you done lately? And this lightweight division is moved so fast. This is not really a division you can kind of sit back and play catcher, and you got to keep moving forward. And he hasn't done anything. Conor has the formula: keep moving forward, keep your name in the press, keep people's name in your mouth, and Justin just doesn't do that. I think he needs to do something to kind of bring people back to, oh, look, Justin's back. Justin can still do it. We forget real fast. Like I said, we got an event. There's an event like every week. It's not like how it used to be where you had one every, couple months. You could kind of sit back and you revel in it. And man, there's going to be another event next week. We'll forget all about this one, per se, as far as, the rest of the fighters, and it just keeps going like that. Every week,
you're right.
You forget about the next event coming up, and there's just so much going on. There's probably 100 fighters in the lightweight division at least, and it's like a revolving door, in and out with the next fight, in with the next one, and it's just going. You got to stay, like Conor's the formula. You got to stay in the press, keep your name out there, stay, so that when something like this happens, they're going to pull you because you're already in the conversation. You got to push your way to the front.
Counterpoint. I'm going to throw out a name right here. Yoel Romero. He was coming off a 2-fight lose streak, and he got a shot at Izzy Adesanya. So
Aldo
really
too. Aldo did when he switched divisions. So that's what I'm saying. They're not opposed to doing anything. I don't put anything past them. So that's why it wouldn't surprise me for them to have Hooker jump Oliveira, because they've done stuff like that. They've given people on losing streaks title fights when they've switched divisions. So they're not opposed to doing anything.
So I'd love to see Conor and Justin fight. I just think the build-up for that fight would put a lot. I think that would do the best pay-per-view numbers than Conor Charles, Conor Dan, Conor Mike. But what if we get GSP versus Conor. Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, maybe if GSP puts any interest out there, then yeah, absolutely. But
he has made it clear. I want to fight for a title. I mean, maybe this is what could get Khabib off the sideline. Maybe if he sees GSP versus Conor, and what if GSP beats Conor? What if Conor beats GSP? If Conor beats GSP, I mean, that will take – people will immediately forget that he lost to Khabib. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, I mean – they need to jump up to the front and say that they want it. That's the thing. There's so many, like I said, there's so many other voices. They need to make themselves heard over these other voices.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel gets the grease on this.
Yeah, and I don't think Dana White's going to keep chasing them forever. Eventually he's going to let it go. You got so many guys in that division. I could see it years ago when you didn't have all that and you needed that big draw, you needed that big name. But as long as you got Conor around, they're happy with that, just like with Brock. If you had Brock, you didn't need anything else. If he's got Conor back in the saddle and he knows something we don't know, that Conor's going to be around for a little while, he's not going to care who else is around because he's got what he needs right now. And that's kind of how it's always been, is right now. So, I mean, if they want it, they need to step up and say something, because there's going to be enough guys that are going to say something.
Yeah. Okay, now let's go to the other guy. What if Dustin wins? Dustin has hinted that he's going to move up. If he wins this, he's probably going to not fight for the title. I think he's going to move up to welterweight. Masvidal maybe? Colby maybe? I'd love to see Dustin's cardio versus Colby's pressure. I think that'd be an interesting matchup. I think Masvidal striking versus Poirier speed, that'd be interesting. At welterweight, it could be pretty much anybody versus Dustin. Do you think he would fight for the lightweight title if he won this, or do you think he would immediately go to welterweight for the money fight? What do you think Dustin would do there?
I mean, I don't know who else he's fought just about everybody in the top of the lightweight, So yeah. Unless, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but if for some reason Khabib said, hey, I want to get back in this, I think he would take that. Just Dustin's mindset, he'd go in there against anybody, especially to try to get that one back. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, he's already beat Hooker. He would have beaten Conor, assuming he wins this to get into a title fight. He's already beat Max if Max decides to come up. So I could see him, he's getting a little bit older. I could see him making that jump up to try to make one more push at something different.
Yeah. Steven said Dustin wouldn't fight Masvidal because they're teammates. That's never stopped guys before, especially American Top Team. Those guys fight each other frequently. I mean, I could easily see Dustin moving back to Gladiators just for this one fight and then going back to American Top Team. These are professionals. I mean, it's not like they're going to be like, no, I can't fight. I think those days are gone. I think it's, where's the money? Where's the check? All right, see ya. I love you, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have to punch you in the face.
And there's so many coaches over at that facility. I mean,
you got Dean Thomas. You got everybody over there. Mike Brown.
There's so many coaches they can break apart. And, I mean, if the money's right and the glory is there, they'll do it. They'll fight anybody.
And American Top Team, that is the most business savvy gym in the whole global sphere. Like, they know which way the wind blows. They know how to market their guys. They know how to put on fights. And like you said, there's so many coaches. You got Mike Brown, you got Dean Thomas. They'll split the coaching staff up, and they'll just like, all right, guys, let's keep it nice. Don't be a Colby. Let's do this. And Blake said, Masvidal versus Covington here. Take my money. Agreed. If anything, make them coaches on the Ultimate Fighter. This is coming. Ultimate Fighter is supposed to be coming on in March. We don't know who the coaches are yet. I'm getting antsy over here. So tomorrow, UFC 257. It has that Super Bowl feel. That's every Conor fight, Super Bowl. This is our Super Bowl fight. And when he fights, it's the Red Panty Nights, the Red Panty Bowl, brought to you by Victoria's Secret. So you pick Conor. What round?
Round 3.
I got Dustin round 3. I got Dan Hooker by decision. What you got?
I think Hooker's gonna catch him. I'm saying maybe round 2. I think he's gonna catch him. I think he's gonna come in there underestimating Hooker, and Hooker's gonna make him pay. He's gonna drop him, and then he's just gonna ground and pound TKO stoppage second round.
I can see that too. He's very long and rangy. He loves his knees. Usually short, stocky guys come victim to the knees, so I can see that as well. I just think it's going to be – I think Chandler's going to show his heart this fight. I think it's going to go to the decision. It'll be a 30-27. One card's going to say 30-26, I bet. All right, then we got Joanne versus Jessica. I got Joanne by decision. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Joanne. She needs this bad. She needs it bad. I think it's going to be a decision, but, yeah, she needs it. She wants to stay relevant.
All right, and our next one we got – come on, Tev. All right, we got Ribas versus Mariano Rodriguez. I got Amanda Ribas by let's go submission round 3. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going definitely Ribas. Obviously, going submission. I'm going to go round 1.
All right, you got round 1. I mean, she caught Paige pretty damn good.
Yeah, she took Mackenzie Dern to a decision, you know.
Mackenzie Dern's one of the best female grapplers of all time. So
took her to a decision and won it. So, I mean, if she can do that, and that shows a lot right there.
All right, we got Mahmoud Muradov versus Andrew Sanchez. I'm going to take Sanchez by TKO second round. What you got?
Oh, I was really expecting the Ottman fight. I was actually really looking forward to that one because the dude's a beast. I'm gonna go the other way just to mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna go Mahmoud. Yeah. I'm gonna go with decision. They're both ranked pretty close.
We got Frevola versus Sarkuyan. Sorry, sir, I messed up your name. I'm gonna take Frevola. I've been watching him a lot, watching his film. I'm gonna say Frevola by decision on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that way too with decision. I mean, he was actually supposed to be fighting Ottman, so I mean, he was coming in ready for a war anyway. So I mean, I think he's gonna come in with that right mindset.
All right, next one we got Tavares versus Carlos Jr. Pretty 50-50 on this one. Tavares is always game. He always pushes pace. Very technically sound. Carlos Jr., beautiful grappler, making his middleweight debut. I think we'll go with Tavares on this one. We got a big guy coming down versus a guy who really pushes the pace. So that makes me uncomfortable for Shoeface on this one. So I'm going to go Brad Tavares by decision.
Yeah, it's easier to go up and wait than it is to go down for sure. So that's why I'm going to go with Tavares. I just think it's going to be a hard drop.
All right, then we got Juliana Pena versus Sarah McMahon. I think I will go McMahon by decision.
Yeah, same thing, McMahon decision. I think she's just going to grind her, use that wrestling, and just, work out a decision on her.
All right, and then the curtain puller for the prelims, we got Khalil Roundtree versus Marcin Pracino. I'm going to go Khalil round 1 KO. I feel like that's the safest bet.
Yeah, it's going to – definitely. It could even be KO of the night. I mean, but definitely, going with Khalil for sure.
And then early prelim, main event, we got Mosfar Eloev versus Nick Lentz. I'm a big Nick Lentz fan, so I'm going to go Nick Lentz by decision on this one. I don't think he's going to get the stoppage this time.
Yeah, I'm going to go Evelev. I mean, he's, so far undefeated. I mean, he's undefeated all the way around, but in the UFC, I just think he's gonna grind it out. I know Lentz was supposed to fight either a week or two ago against Mike Grundy, but I got pulled. So I mean, he's ready to go. I mean, it was a late addition, but I mean, he's already been ready to go. So, but I'm gonna go Evolov.
All right, then curtain pulling the whole shebang. We got flyweight action. We got Amir Albazi versus Zalgaz Zurmagulov. I'm gonna go Zurmagulov by decision on this one because I actually heard of him. I haven't heard anything about Amir Albazi, to be honest with you.
I'm going to go with Amir because I've seen him fighting Brave, so it's kind of the same thing. I haven't heard of the other guy, but I've heard of Amir from doing Brave.
All right, so there coverage. We go. All right, so those are our predictions. All right, but I like to go here. Where's that? Blah, blah, blah. All right, here's the comment. Before we go, I like to address this. I'm playing guessing game here. We know Dana and Diaz have been talking. If Conor wins, he'll face Khabib or Diaz. I don't think Diaz is going to be fighting Conor or main event winner or co-main event winners. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's going to be Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. I think that's the fight they're lining up. They're just waiting for Tony's side. So who do you think is going to be it for Nate?
I don't know. I kind of like that with Tony. But yeah, I mean, man, I don't know. I would like to see it with Conor, but I don't know. They're kind of moving in different directions right now. I don't see the paths crossing right now. I mean, if he loses, I could, it's definitely a lot more likely to happen than if he wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll just see. I mean, there's a lot of high-ranking lightweights to fight this weekend. I think the dominoes will start falling after that, and then I think things will kind of line themselves out after we know for sure what's going to happen this weekend. Then it'll kind of clear up a lot of things.
Yeah. So anything else before we'd like to go? I think we touched on every possible thing we could touch on with Dustin and Conor and Khabib and the whole future. We looked into our crystal ball. We speculated. So tomorrow we'll have a clear picture. We'll have a lot to talk about on Friday. That's when the crystal ball will be a lot more clear for us. So anything you'd like to add?
Just tell all your friends, join the Fight Club. I love seeing all the comments in here today. A lot of, that's exactly what we're here for.
Yes.
That's what it's open up for. Everyone jump in there, get involved. So yeah, let's get more people in here.
Thank you for getting involved in this. Appreciate y'all.
Definitely appreciate it.
All right, so that's it for us for tonight. Thank y'all for joining us. So until then, be good. First World Fight Club. Tell everybody about AYS Fight Club.